Hey, Allen Creek, Dan, your community and worship pastor here. We're kicking off our spring, believe it or not, spring, with winter weather bearing down on us. It's our spring e-group quarter this week. And we're kicking it off with this really cool series we just started called Adulting. And so I wanted to let you know, e-groups are starting back up. So if you've got a group, make sure you connect with your leader, find out, if your meeting time has changed or anything. If you don't have an e-group, this is exactly the time to start. So reach out to me, go onto our website or in Church Center, and you can find information about e-groups there, and we'll get you connected with one. If there's not an e-group that works for you, let me know that too, and we'll figure out how to get one started. So in e-groups, all the E stands for is extended, meaning we're going to extend the teaching we went through on Sunday morning. This week, no exception. We kicked off this Adulting is Hard series with the topic of decision making. And I wanted to share a brief little story with you that just underscores how God works through all kinds of different planning and teaching, and just he's always going behind the scenes, right? And making things happen. So I received a voicemail from an Allen Creeker with kind of an urgent question. And I was out sick, so I didn't get it until Sunday morning. And so I sensed it was urgent. They said, yeah, I need to hear back from you. This is kind of a burning issue. And so I called back as soon as the sermon was over. They hadn't been able to make it to church. And the question was this: why can't I go and see a psychic? I know that God says I'm not supposed to see a psychic, but I'd like to know why. And there was a really good reason. They had a family member who was suffering terribly under a loss. And they wanted to do anything to try to help this family member who was suffering. And they knew that the Bible taught we're not supposed to go to mediums and psychics and that sort of thing. But they kind of wanted to know why. And I said, well, it's a good question. So we opened our Bibles over the phone, and we went to Leviticus, and in the area where God's law is very explicit with it, and said, don't ever go to mediums. And it was so funny because the person on the phone said, oh, well, there it is. Hard to argue with. There it is. And then I said, that's a good hint answer. We can go right to the scriptures and say, this is where God says it. But do you want to discuss at least why I think God has this rule? And they said, sure, yeah, let's talk about that. And I explained that I think it has to do with trust. That it's not that you couldn't find answers from spiritual mediums and psychics, because there's probably those powers at work out there, but they may not have your best interest at heart. And it's not God. And God tends to give us the answers that he feels we need. And he doesn't give us the answers he feels we don't. So he wants us to go to him for answers and not to some intermediary, some medium, some mediator for our answers. In fact, he wants to remind us that we can go directly to him. We don't need somebody else to reach out for answers. Through Jesus, we have a direct access to God. And so it's this trust thing, and it was so interesting. And here's the cool part of the story. This person shared, you know what? I'd already made the decision that I wasn't going to go see a psychic. I'm glad that we talked, and now I understand why God doesn't want me to, but I already knew he said no. And I said, well, so you made a decision. How did you make that decision? How did you know to not go? And they said, well, I kind of had a dream. And I was really troubled about this. And I had a dream that I was reaching out to pick up my cat, I love very much. And I couldn't reach the cat. And God said to me in my dreams, your arms are as long as they need to be. Isn't that beautiful? And this person understood instantly when they kind of woke up from this dream that God's saying, I know everything I need to know. Trust me. So here we are, God's working in our community's lives, teaching us things through his word, through Rick's teaching, through opening the Bible, through dreams, about trusting Him in decision making. Adulting is hard, but here's the reminder, friend. God's on our side. He's right there with us. And through this whole series, we're going to be digging in more deeply in how God sets up a roadmap for us to get through life with courage and to get over hardship and to experience joy and happiness. So a great way to do that, absolutely come to Allen Creek every Sunday morning and take in a service with us. Join us online if you can't be there. But hey, friends, get together with other people. Conversations like I had with this AC3er in our e-groups are the place where we really get encouragement and deeper understanding. So check out one of our e-groups, and we'll see you all soon.